Hey Pisces, welcome into your reading. Today's date is September the 27th. We'll be doing a general reading at Steampunk Psyche for the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and it will go through October the 11th. So let's get into the reading for Pisces and see what the cards want to say. Pisces is the veil walker, the soul swimmer, the one who dissolves the ego to merge with the divine. They carry the emotional residue of all signs before them, making them natural healers, poets, and mystics. Their love is oceanic, vast, mysterious, and capable of drowning or redeeming. So when Pisces enters the ritual, prepare for a transmission that transcends logic and touches the soul. I wish I could remember that and just whip that right out to you, but I'm not very good at that. So for right now, I'm just going to read those things out. I'm getting better, though. I'm getting better at it. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to improve. Okay, so I'm going to get my beautiful mug out of the spotlight here, even though I do enjoy that. That's a Pisces, right? We like to be seen, we like to be heard, but we also are loving and caring and everything else too. So I'm a Pisces myself. So we're going to see what this reading reading reveals, right? I was a rapper in a past life, I think. Four of Swords in the reverse position. Okay. And the Four of Cups. Five in the night. So 4, 4, 5. Mm-hmm. And the four. So, okay. So the Four of Swords, normally in the upright position, talks about emotions, and it talks about you have something very weighing very heavily on your mind. But right off the bat, I want to show you the Four of Swords in the reversed position, and we'll take a look at that. And because it's in the dominant position, so burned out, mental fatigue, hesitation, recovery. So burned out, emotionally, and trying to rest and recover, rejuvenate, that kind of thing. And it's followed by the Four of Cups. And I like to see those two numbers together, that 4 and a 4, because it resembles the 8, and 8 is infinity. So it's a very spiritual, something very enlightening is happening here. That's what I'm feeling. So we got the Four of Cups, right? And the Four of Cups in the upright usually talks about that your dominating thoughts are on something. You're really heavily thinking. And we saw, in the recovery side, perhaps those are the things that you've been thinking about, because it does sit in a passive position. So, however, there is this an offering that has come in, so it's kind of leading me to believe that maybe there is something stagnant, maybe a situation that where the offering has not been made. Perhaps you're waiting on an offering. But we're going to take a look at the Four of Cups in the reverse position too. So maybe it'll reveal to us something more. An awakening, opportunity, acceptance, or reconnection, motivation. So those are two beautiful cards sitting next to each other, the two fours. And that's usually the way it is. It's that revolving, when you're up, you're up. When you're down, you're down. That explains Pisces, right? When we are high, we are high. And I do not mean that as a drug reference. However, when we get high, we get really high, right? But I'm saying usually that's the way it is with a Pisces. Well, I don't think we ever tiptoe right like at a perfection. It's really all of the signs' energy revolve through Pisces. We are the ending of it and the beginning of it. So we really feel all of the energy. So we have a very high emotional kind of a stance on things. And when we're up, we're up, and we're down, we're down. But so I'm not surprised in seeing some rest recuperation cards in there, right? So in the third position, it's a manifested Ten of Wands, right? The Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands upright is an emotional overbearing. Something is really weighing heavily on us. So the Ten of Wands in the reverse position, once again, relief, release, delegation, lightening your load, overcoming a burden. So rest, resilience, recovery. So those are all great situations, and we are grounding ourselves towards the Knight of Pentacles. So we're really trying to balance out our logic towards maybe finances, maybe a job, maybe um, a support system of finances somehow or another. The Knight of Pentacles is a logical card. Okay, so it's health, wealth, stability, resilience type of a card. When very logical minded. When they make a when they make a plan, they stick to it. They move forward. Gallantly. There's no ifs, ands, or buts with the Knight of Pentacles, but we're seeing him in the reversed position. So let's also take a look at that and find out. So a laziness, an overcautiousness, a lack of progress. I'm going to lean more towards probably part of the burnout, but overcautiousness about something because it's hard for a Pisces to stay lazy too long, really, unless we're going through some kind of a phase, a cycle where we do need rest, recovery, and then it's like you're not going to budge me. I am not moving, but I'm gonna keep shuffling, see what's coming up here. So, but yeah, maybe a whole lot of rest, recovery, the first three cards. So maybe you just got over something that really, really was a heavy burden upon you. But it looks like it's coming towards um, kind of a moving out of your logical mind. So then we're followed with the Ace of Pentacles, a dominating energy here. Guarding the gate. This is a divine offering of a financial. It's also, a divine offering of emotional health, grounding type energy, a stability, divinely guided. So, um, and perhaps with the Knight of Cups in the reverse position, um, it maybe reinforces that Knight of Pentacles status that we saw. Backs it up. Maybe a little bit of that energy is still lingering. Um, let's look. Yeah, let's look at the Knight of Cups here real quick. F6. If you're not aware, in my tarot board here, each of my cards, I've got the explanation cards here, and I'll have to tell you a little bit about that. So we got escapism, manipulation, jealousy, emotional block, idealism. Okay, Pisces, we're starting to tell a story. So come clean. What's on your mind? What's going on here? Anyway, yeah, about those cards. So I have a whole lot of controls for each of those explanation cards. So while I'm trying to look at the cards as well, I'm also looking over at my cheat sheet where my hotkeys are assigned, because I've got 78 in the upright, 78 in the reverse. So that's 156 if I did the math right. I wasn't ever very good at math, but yeah, that's a lot of keys to remember. So that's why I'm shifting back and forth. So this offering that we had here, a divine offering matched by a most negative energy, right? Followed by the Seven of Swords in the reversed position here. So the Seven of Swords upright talks about this kind of a manipulation type, vendetta type energy, also a sneaky, unbelievable. There's just all kinds of little, synonyms we could throw in there, and but we're gonna look at the Seven of Swords and see why that energy's popped up on the outskirts of that. So a confession, a truth, an honesty, awareness, integrity, a revelation coming through, exposure. That's kind of what I feel like. There's something's being exposed here. And if it has to do with finances, then maybe an investment that you've made or something is coming through or about to come through. However, we could be talking, if we were talking in relationship wise, these two energies are beautiful, right? And we're surrounded by two kind of um, I don't know, opposing type energies. Let me look back again. I'm wondering, you're manifesting the Seven of Swords. Let's look at that again. The Seven of Swords in reversed. You're manifesting the truth about something. You want to expose the truth. Somebody needs to take accountability. Accountability for their actions or something here. So, Pisces, I'm not sure. This may be a little bit specific of a reading for somebody in particular. But we're ending up with this grounded nature here of the Nine of Pentacles. You know, she is established, secure financial wise. She's very grounded, has that nurturing, naturistic kind of energy. And, you know, so being a very grounded, stabilized type energy. Also with the Ace of Pentacles and the. So, like I said, I've got this feeling that if this chaos, it's not really leaning me towards a relationship wise as much as a chaotic state of decision making here. You did a lot of rest, recovery, rejuvenation, and maybe you've overcome this, or maybe you're in the process of overcoming this, this rest, rejuvenation, and it's at its ending. It's coming to its ending. Maybe this was in the past, just a little bit, recent past. Maybe this was a few weeks ago. Maybe this was some news that you just recently, but I feel like this is almost over. But maybe we're gonna get another story to this. So yeah, all right, cool. So the High Priestess, right? Her energy is in the reverse position. The High Priestess is all about her internal self. She is surrounded by duality. She is the card of truth, inner peace, inner calmness. Her strength is within the mysteries, the spirituality. You know, she's holding the Torah. She's surrounded by the crescent moon, which controls a lot of our energies. She has the triple moon on her crown. It could be associated with Pisces as well. So that dominating energy is trying to say, you know, that you're just not yourself right now. You're kind of upside down, and apparently it seems to be over a relationship of some type, a communion or a community or a union of some type, right? With the Four of Wands. So, yeah, it looks like the chaotic state of mind is over. However, you're still in this patiently waiting or waiting to reveal what the universe has. And I say that because it's followed by the Wheel of Fortune, right? And the Wheel of Fortune is you know, the cycles. And I love this card because there is so much information on it, and I really want to share that with you. So if you can just hold tight. Um, the Wheel of Fortune obviously talks about destiny, cycles, you know, luck, turning points, things like that. But there's a few other things about this card that I'd like to share. Number one, so we can't control our fate, right? And we have to learn to navigate through the shifts and the turns and all this. But the central wheel that dominates this card, okay, it represents turning cycles of fate. And we all are aware of that. But it also spells out a 5 different examples about this wheel that I think are very important. It spells out, if you can see on the card, there are the letters ROTA, which means the turning wheel. There is TARO, which is the cards, the Book of Thoth. There is ORAT, which talks about, in Latin, it means for speaks. And then there's Torah, TORA, which is the divine law, the Hebrew divine, you know, law. So, and then there's Ator, ATOR, which talks about a veiled reference to Hathor, the Egyptian goddess of love and sacred pleasure. So what I like about that is that it's really like this card speaks to all of the languages of our cycles, you know, that we go through in life. So perhaps what this is talking about is that there is always a beginning and an ending. There is the underworld, and then there is the, you know, the upper world. So cycle. So it looks like your cycle has shifted back into the up position right here. And I know that was kind of long-winded, but I love that card. I love it when it comes up because it reminds us of, you know, the temporary state of things, just like our moon. We're going into the, you know, the waxing crescent moon, and excuse me, the ending of the waxing crescent, and we're going in on the 29th to the first quarter moon. So it's all about cycles. And in this cycle, it feels as though you're still bound to something, and that is that one, you know, that one Knight of Cups right here. You know, this chaos, tyranny, something that still got you bound, right? However, Do realize that the Eight of Swords is strictly choice. It doesn't mean that this is a forever. For instance, notice we have the Wheel of Fortune, right? So that's what that's talking about. This choice to temporarily bind yourself with whatever it is that you're struggling with. Okay, and so if you'll notice behind her, there is a castle back there, right? And there are no swords behind her. All she got to do is take off take off the blindfold and turn around and walk towards that piece. So this is a temporary um, choice that you're making to bind yourself to something. So maybe in the fourth turn over here, we're calling these the cauldron side because sometimes this helps bring out the cards and help us get a better conclusion here about what we're looking at. So, and we've got the lovers in reversed, right? We want to see the lovers upright, and obviously for obvious reasons, but and maybe that's part of the things that you're holding on to. We did see the Four of Cups. Each four of those cups, this could represent that you've focused on your rest and recovery so much, or you have focused on this Knight of Pentacles in the reverse, the stability side of this relationship, or the emotions that you're having, mentally. So, and then the third cup could represent this union that, you're really looking forward to, or that you hope would happen. So, and then it's followed by the King of Cups in the reverse. So the King of Cups is definitely, you know, it's the offering of love. It's the offering of an emotional camaraderie. It's a stable type of emotional support that we all look forward to, right? Then after that, we've got the Eight of Cups. So the Eight of Cups in the upright position talks about, kind of a walking away, for instance, that while the journey is going to be, not as easy as we like, and maybe you're still holding on to some emotional baggage or something like that. But in this, for instance, we've got the Eight of Cups in the reverse position, and then it's followed by the Six of Swords in the reverse position. So we'll look at the Eight of Cups in the reverse position real quick and find out what it is needing to say. So there's an emotional stagnation, an indecision, a regret, a hesitation, clinging, and a disconnection. So maybe you're disconnected. Maybe this is a relationship wise and you're separated. I didn't see a whole lot of swords other than the six here, and then the eight talking about a binding type scenario. But I feel like you're more bound to this situation emotional wise. So let's keep looking at it here. Then it's followed by the Six of Swords as well. So upright is moving out of rough waters and into calm waters, right? And this could be emotional, carrying emotional baggage. This could be childhood wounding. Mother is sometimes involved with this card. Mother wounding, perhaps, or disappointments. Those types of things. So we'll look at the Six of Swords real quick and see what it has to say. Resistance to change again, emotional baggage, right? Avoidance, turbulence. So what are we, Pisces, what are we avoiding here? What are we avoiding? What are we putting off? So far, I'm getting that, there was you're waiting on an offering. Ace of Pentacles could be that offering of love that's not coming in. I tell you, the energies lately have just been really like in this, we all want to be loved, we all want to be heard. We want to be seen. We want that reciprocating love that is respectful to one another, that you uplift instead of bringing each other down, and it's so disheartening sometimes to have these reads. So if you're still with me, stay with me. Don't leave, because we have to burn the fire. But there's mystery, okay? There's mystery in this, and perhaps you're asking those questions. The Queen of Wands is a mystery card. She's a nurturer. She has black cat energy. She's magic. She's all right, awesome. Check this out. This is what we needed to hear. Yeah, so there's a mystery in this, and you're wondering about this Three of Cups. It could talk about a third party situation, but I feel like more now it's a unity. You're trying to come together. Because like I said, we had the union card over here. And this has got you really, really talking inside your mind. We did have the Knight of Pentacles in your very first turn over here that you had grounded yourself. Um, whereas the card speaks of logical mindedness, right? Your brain gets in the way, and your brain sometimes can keep you stagnant because it's a comfortable place, because the brain does not like or consider anything that's unknown to be safe. So logically, all these thoughts continue to roll around back in your head and confront you, that want to keep you, keep your heart rate and your metabolic rate, all of your nervous system, that wants to try to calm you down, so it'll keep you in that place where it feels like it can keep you calm. The moon card, however, the moon is associated with Pisces, okay? We are part of this moon, part of these cycles, right? The Wheel of Fortune shows up. We have to consider that this cycle right now um, is maybe speaking really to our shadow self. We do see the Six of Swords right here, okay? Excuse me. And I felt like maybe this offering was not necessarily relationship wise as much. Excuse me. Throat chakra too. So, excuse me. Maybe that's a sign. There needs to be some communication really fast. Look, spiritual enlightenment. Maybe you're wanting to share this spiritual enlightenment. Maybe you feel like somebody is your twin flame. Maybe you feel, you've gone online, you've seen everything there is to know about twin flames. You know a person, you're just smitten by that person, right? That's an old word, isn't it? Smitten. Still, I don't know if it's still around or not, but you're taken. And really, what happens in that situation, in the awakened state, we go through that runner chaser scenario. Does he like me? Does she like me? Is she feeling the same way I do? Does he even think like this? Are we even connected? I don't even know. All these questions. It's got you upside down, inside out, turned around. That actually reminds me of a song, Inside Out. Yeah, that's an old tune, right? Um, anyway, yeah, but the shadow self. So you're doing introspection and the shadow work. And I know this because the crustacean here, I suppose how you'd say it, but this little lobsterish type character right here coming out represents transformation. It represents the enlightened state. Okay. The reason I said all that stuff earlier is because between these two gates is the unknown. But if you'll notice, each one of these little symbols, they are divine guidance through the gates. Okay, into the unknown. It's inviting you into the unknown. So that's why I say the shadow self, shadow aspect. When I showed you the Six of Swords down here, is what it's talking about. So the way to get to this, the way to get to that lover, the way to get to that person, is to recognize that law of attraction. The more you run towards that person, the further they go. And really, yeah, I'm glad the Two of Swords showed up, because really what that does is it says you have to make a choice. You have to focus inwards in order to be magnetic. You have to focus inwards in order for that person to remain off of your mind, and all these, with the Four of Cups, okay? All these situations, in order to find this divine offering, in order to find this union with the Three of Cups, right? This sisterhood, this coming together, reciprocated love, reciprocated perfection that you're looking for, you have to focus inward. You cannot stay focused externally wise. It just will not happen. You will never move forward. Trust me when I tell you, I spent years in the dark night of the soul. I spent years at looking at external versus internal. And the moment I decided that I'm done with all that shit, I can't do it anymore. It's hurtful to the heart, right? It pierces us to the very soul. But we have to stop and consider ourselves. And that's what the moon card tries to tell you in transformation like that. So I really feel positive about that. I feel like that's what it's saying. Okay, and then it's followed by the Hierophant, right? And the Hierophant is talking about traditional. It's talking about spiritual. It could be also talking about religious aspects, but it's really it's asking you to go within. The Hierophant. The Hierophant is a teacher. The Hierophant remained a student forever, okay? Is a student of learning, but never claims to be the master. It's just the knowledge, the esoteric knowledge, the hidden knowledge, the religious knowledge, um, the importance of the spiritual side and balancing those. And really, so this Three of Pentacles shows up right here in telling me that in order to find that reciprocated Three of Cups, it's funny that they both fall in the same position, right? One underneath each other. Three of Cups, Three of Pentacles. This is reciprocated information. I want to share this with somebody. And maybe the partner that you're with right now, you're in an enlightened state, and maybe they're not, and so it's causing friction. It could be that type of relationship. It could be that, like I said, you're going through an awakening or spiritual awakening, and you would love to be able to share this information with that person. So chances are they're probably mirroring the same thing. So I just remain sovereign, stay within yourself, and watch how it goes, right? So yeah, we got the Five of Cups. Again, I feel like we're at that same roundabout. Look, if you came in to find out whether or not your lover's coming in, your lover's not coming in right now. It's just not. And the reason it's not is because you're avoiding. This is an avoidance scenario, okay? Let me show you this real quick. Five of Cups. In the reverse position, right? Acceptance, healing, forgiveness, emotional recovery, moving forward, renewal, hope, release, and growth. So, in order to do that, you've got to let go. I mean, that almost like slapped me in the face with the answer. But it is the very same answer. In order to do this, you have to let go. You have to rest, recovery, rejuvenate. No matter what you do here, I'm going to stop the reading right here because I feel like this is a point of we're going to see the same kind of cards show up. And I've done the readings enough to kind of feel like the energy in this is just saying that take a deep breath and just know that your love is there, right? But it's asking you to please focus inward and understand about the cycles of nature. This is just a temporary thing. It's temporary, temporary, temporary. It's not going to continue on forever and a day. It just feels that way. And the reason it feels that way is because, temperance, the Wheel of Fortune, High Priestess, even though the temperance card was there, I'm just trying to tell you, those are the archetypes of sitting in the flames. To be the phoenix, you have to sit in the flame. In order to rise up, you have to burn. And it's okay to sit in that, right? So Pisces, look, hey, I'm a Pisces myself, and I can just tell you, I'm an emotional cretin. I everything bugs me. Everything gets me good, and everything, when I hurt, and when I'm happy, I'm happy, and I want to share. But I also want to share that when you're in pain, and when you're suffering, or you feel victimized by external sources, it's just a sign for you to go, okay, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not. Pisces, you're better than this. You are all 12 houses. The Wheel of Fortune is every house. Okay. These winged creatures on the left side of the board here with the Wheel of Fortune, these winged creatures are fixed creatures. Okay. They are the fixed signs in the zodiac. We are not fixed. We're mutable. Okay. We are able to adapt. That's who we are. We adapt to everything. We've gone through all of the signs. We are the first and the last sign of the house. You know what I'm saying? We are badass. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Just remain sovereign. You're okay. It's coming. Wait and let this cycle run its course. Breathe, rest, recover, rejuvenate. Go outside, take a walk, write, paint, draw, turn that energy inwards into you and quit looking outwards. You know what I mean? I love you so very much. Thanks for staying if you did. And anyway, I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Okay. All right. Bye.